Hey, what's up everybody? Dylan here from Iceberg TV and Disc Golf Deals USA. Today we're going to be checking out 4 new upcoming Discraft drops and then 2 sort of reissue drops that I'm really excited that I actually asked Disc Golf Deals to send me. I'll give you a quick breakdown of what we are looking at. We'll throw them in the open field here and we're going to play some holes with them at Bradford Park, and I'll show you guys how they perform sort of out on the course and on. I'm at one of my favorite courses, so it's always going to be a fun time if you're at Bradford Park. The first disc they sent me, Discraft, is the Fossil. Now, I did not like the baseline plastic Fossil. This one feels significantly better. The original Fossil I had a huge dome, and it felt, in my opinion, terrible in hand. This one does not have the dome. It feels much better in hand, so I'm actually really excited to see how the new run of Fossil's flying. 3103, I'm expecting it to be just like ultra beef. The next disc Discraft sent, we've got the First Run Joy. Again, a mold that's a little hit or miss for me, sort of very run dependent. I had one Joy that was just extremely understable. No matter how I threw it, it was finding its way on a backhand on that left to right moving line, which at a -1-1, I'm looking for a little bit of pushback and fade at the end. So I'm excited to see how the first run is actually flying. The next disc, we have the Z-Swirl Missy Gannon Captain Thrasher 12502. Obviously, Z-Swirl, my opinion, is probably Discraft's best plastic. It feels amazing, looks amazing, and it usually performs amazing as well. We've got the First Run Halix. This is a 10503. First prototype Halix, didn't love it, but the Crystal Sparkle did love it, and I'm really excited to see how the ESP performs out on the course today. Should be able to throw some really nice forehands with this today. Now, I asked Disc Golf Deals for these two. We have a Stratus, which is a 5.5 neg3-1, and then we have the Cyclone, which is kind of like a stable fairway driver, sort of similar to the Passion, but a little bit slower and potentially maybe a little bit more stable. I love when Discraft brings back some of these reissued older molds, because sometimes companies will come out with a mold that is ahead of its time, in my opinion, and may not have gained popularity when it was originally released, but maybe in modern plastic could potentially perform a little bit better. So I'm really curious to see how the Stratus flies today. This is one I'm really curious about. I also really just love the stamp and the artwork. They absolutely nailed these. This is one of the best looking discs that I've seen in a long time. All right, so let's see how everything flies in the field. We'll start off with the Ricky Fossil. I'm expecting this to just fly like an absolute just brick. Wow, okay, that's a bit more mild than I thought it was going to be. Actually getting quite a bit of distance. That's gonna be a nice flyer out here today. Really curious to see how it performs on the forehand. We've got the First Run Joy. Please give me the fade. Perfect. That's really all I want out of the Joy. I want a nice straight flight, but something that's not going to turn and burn, and that did exactly that. Let's throw the Stratus next. Throw it on a slight hyzer, given it is a -3 turn. Should find its way to the right, and there it goes. Wow, that's a very nice flyer as well. I don't know the numbers on the Cyclone, but I assume it's like a 7.4, neg1-1, neg1-2. Whoa. Not nearly as stable as I thought it was going to be. Ricky Wysocki Halix, 10503. This thing's gonna be like stupid beef. Basically a 10-speed Fossil. And I don't think that went much further than the Fossil either. And now we have the Missy Gannon Z-Swirl modified overstable Thrasher, Captain Thrasher. This one ideally goes the furthest of everything we just threw. Wow, that is stable. Wow, that thing is almost as stable as the Halix. And that is way more stable than the brand new Paul Macbeth Aries, which you can also check out at discgolfdealsusa.com/icebergtv. Let's go try and get some birdies with these new discs. And I honestly don't know if they retooled this fossil, but it feels so much better than that early run. We're like, what, 120 feet from the basket, but I want to see how this comes out of my hand on just a little forehand. It's so much better. I don't know if they made changes, but the fossil is so much closer to what I'm thinking Ricky Wysocki wanted that disc to be. The original fossil just felt so bad in hand for me, and that actually feels quite good. Hole 3, 320 feet. My typical play here is just an overstable disc on a forehand. I'll sort of punch it out to the left, just let it swing back to the right. I usually throw a Firebird. Let's see how the Hallex holds up. Thing is big beef. Great push though. Perfect, just like that, we're in circle's edge. I do want to see if the Stratus and the Cyclone, based on those first throws, it feels like they may just flip on command, which is one of my favorite shots to throw here. Stratus, go in the basket. Oh, dude, that is nice. That was so smooth. Cyclone. I don't know if it's more or less flippy. I think it's a little less flippy, but still kind of flippy. Yeah, okay. Not as flippy, but I threw that a little bit nose up and it still found its way to absolutely dead straight. I'm gonna have a fun time with these discs today. I probably can't get the fossil there, but I do want to give this a power forehand and see how it handles a bit more torque. Yeah, they fixed the fossil for sure. All right, hole 4 is a 304-foot par 3. It really plays more like 400 feet. Let's try the first run ESP Hallex here. This thing's really stable. If I hit the gap flat, we may have a chance to get up there for a birdie look. So this is a hole I typically even have a hard time reaching, even with my DD3, the Q-Line DD3. So to get within this range with the Hallex, this thing does have an admirable amount of push to it. See if we can throw a fossil in. I've got a really nice, just below 300-foot dead straight par 3 here. Let's try a couple different options here. We'll start off with the Joy. Let's see if we can get it to go straight. Wow. I loved that out of the hand. That's definitely the most stable Joy I've thrown, which I actually find really exciting because the first Joy or two I had, just a little too tippy for me. And that one, quite a bit more stable and a lot more reliable. Let's try the Stratus. The Stratus is super fun. Flying exactly true to those flight numbers. Finding that tip, turning over. It's listed at a -3 turn, flying exactly as expected. Cyclone. Yeah, wow, this Stratus is a super fun disc. And if you don't bag a -3 or -4 for those late flipping shots, you're kind of missing out on one of the most fun shots in disc golf. Hole 7 is a 315-foot par 3. We're going to try to forehand the Captain's Thrasher through the gap, get it over to the right, and then we'll try the more difficult shot for me at least, the backhand turnover with the Stratus. Go Thrasher first. Yeah, that thing is so beef. That thing is almost as stable as the Hallex, which is insane. And then we have Stratus. That is like perfect. That could go in. Wow, that is such a fun disc. It's so underrated. Wow. All right, so that Stratus landed right there. Basket's right here. I guarantee you that faded maybe 2 or 3 feet just in front of the basket. Boom, landed us right there. Hole 8A at Bradford is a really fun 300-foot par 3. We're going to check out the Joy and the Cyclone for this hole. I think both discs line up for it very well, especially with this being a more stable run of Joy. So we'll go Joy, then Cyclone. That thing's actually gonna pull back. That's the perfect joy. That is exactly how it's supposed to fly. I don't know if the plastic changes the flight or if they're tweaking the molds or the cooling process, but that one flies so much better than the prototype one I had. Cyclone. That one is so flippy for a Cyclone. It's same deal. I had one of the original ESP Cyclones. That thing must have been 15 years old. It was a very stable fairway driver. And that one kind of flies like a pipeline. If you've ever thrown the DGA pipeline, it just wants to fine turn almost right out of the hand. And I've been playing disc golf long enough to know when I test a disc, if the pro whose disc it is actually going to bag that disc. And I can tell you that Ricky will definitely be bagging that run of Fossil. Super stable, super dumpy, exactly what he's looking for. Same with the Joy. I have a very high expectation that Paige Pierce will be bagging the first run Joy, looking for that little bit more reliable run, that little bit more kind of pull back to the left at the end of the flight. These are some good runs, and I'm really enjoying just being able to get out here and throw them today. Hole 15, the basket is directly behind that rock. 215 par 3. We're gonna go with the Fossil and the Joy. I'm gonna try to backhand flex the Fossil. I think I can trust this on a little bit of Anheuser, or honestly a lot of Anheuser. Watch it pull right out. Oh, man, that thing is good. They did a great job with that. All right, Joy. Get over the rock. 1 foot higher, that is directly into the chains. Hole 12. We just need a very consistent left to right moving line. We're gonna go for the Halix and then the backhand Stratus. Typically I like to forehand this hole with something stable. So let's go Halix, should be perfect. Be stable. Wow, a little too much push. That surprises me. The Halix will surprise you with how far it pushes before it fully fades. Let's see how the backhand Stratus does. We'll give it some height. That disc is so good. That could go in. That had to go right over the top of the basket. The Stratus might be the MVP of the day. That is such a fun disc. All right, guys, we are going to play a few more holes, but for those of you who are curious about my final thoughts on everything, if you've seen enough, I'll just tell you what's for me, what's not for me. Captain's Thrasher, not for me, just too stable. I just don't throw hard enough for a driver like this. I'm really loving some other distance drivers a little bit more at the moment. So Captain's Thrasher, although I love the Z Swirl, and this is some of the best feeling plastic they make, just I mean, if you're not throwing over 60, this thing's just not going to fly very well in this plastic, at least this run. Joy, definitely for me, stable run of Joy. My critique of the Joy originally was that it just didn't quite fly like the flight numbers. It was flying more like a -2.0 and not a neg 1.1. This is flying like a neg 1.1, flying as advertised. Really great, straight shooter mid-range, a little slower than a Buzz. Really great feeling disc and good stamp. They really nailed this one. This is going in the for me category. Fossil probably won't go in my bag, but there's also absolutely nothing wrong with this disc. If you like that sort of, I'm just gonna say it, pig style, low glide approach disc, then you're going to love the Fossil. And I do love that type of approach disc, but I am currently bagging the Stasis in this slot, and the thumb track on this, for me, feels a little bit better than the thumb track for this. But although not for me, not a bad disc at all, and they absolutely flying as advertised, feels good, performs good, does everything it's supposed to do. Cyclone, not for me. I wish this was a little bit more stable to overstable, like the old ESP one that I used to remember back in the day. Now, again, my feeling on this is a little bit biased because I used to bag one and I used to actually really love this mold. This particular run, not for me. Too understable, a little too unpredictable. Something that's going to go into that not for me category, right next to the Captain's Thrasher. Halix, this is something that I've actually been putting in and out of my bag for when I want. So more push than the Firebird, but still that reliable overstability. It kind of depends on what course I'm playing. So this is definitely a for me disc, but it's sometimes for me, not all the time, not in the bag full time. Now, the Stratus, this is 100% going in the bag directly next to my prototype Brave. It's a little bit more understable than the Brave and a little bit slower. Pop it on a hyzer, it's gonna flip all day long, gonna give me that left to right moving backhand in a mid-range that I've been looking for, but something that I don't have to force. Put it up in the air, let it go to work. Stratus, sleeper pick of the day. This is actually gonna go straight into my tournament bag, and I cannot wait to throw this disc more times on other courses and get some more of those turnover backhand birdies that I've been missing out on previously. But let's go play the rest of the course. I'm gonna throw some music down. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Shout out to Discraft, Disc Golf Deals USA. And of course, bergsdiscsports.com, V4 Disc Golf Backpack. You can get them at Disc Golf Deals, or you can get them at bergsdiscsports.com/icebergtv. If you go to our official website, Bergs Disc Sports, use my code ICE20 to save 20% at checkout. We'll see you guys in the next video, and take care.